Hi, I wanted to do a quick 8-week update on my microdiscectomy, my L4, L5 microdiscectomy surgery. I just got back from physical therapy. I've been going for 2 weeks because my doctor wanted me to wait until I hit the 6-week mark before I started going to physical therapy. He has really specific protocols and he's very picky about where his patients go to physical therapy and all of that. So I've started physical therapy now, and I've been to PT a lot of times in the past. I've had multiple therapists and different methods and all of that kind of thing. And the people I'm going to now it's the first time I've ever had physical therapy that was painful. But it's like the good painful, like when you have sore muscles the day after you work out, as opposed to the post-surgery pain or the sciatica pain, the stuff you dealt with that leads us into this kind of a surgery. And I'm feeling pretty positive about it. My post-surgical pain is still, I don't really know how to define it because it's very different now than it was after I had my surgery, and it's certainly nothing like what I had before I went into surgery. It's a different kind of pain, and it's very centrally located in the part of my spine that was damaged to begin with. It's very small, I'd say probably an area of my body about the size of my fist, right in the middle of my lower lumbar spine. And that's the only pain that I have now. And it could be a combination of things. According to my surgeon, it's, healing bone from where they drilled through the bone to get to the disc space in the surgery. It's muscles that are angry because they were retracted, that sort of thing. But so just for the people who just wanted to hear a brief update about 8 weeks of recovery, I can walk. I did a walk about 2 weeks ago with my friend. We went a little over 2 miles, and that wore me out. But I was able to do it without having tremendous pain the next day or any consequences of that sort. It just made me very, very tired. So I can walk, and walking actually tends to relieve the stiffness and the stress that's on that part of the body. It's pretty good. I'm starting to be able to move around in my kitchen. I'm starting to be able to do some light domestic work, like I vacuumed the other day, and that was good. That is all progressing, as you might imagine, and it's really good. Still no pain in the legs. So I would say that overall this is really good. I'm at a good point at the 8-week mark. I'm at a really good point post-surgery. I'll come back at the 12-week point and give an update on, just basic physical updates. But for people that's really kind of where I am. The activities are much easier. I'm doing more. I'm not having as much pain. When I get up in the morning, there can still be some pain. If I stand the wrong way or sit the wrong way and I get up from that, there can be pain where I need to grip onto the sofa or something and stretch that area before I can stand up. So I still do have moments of pain, but they're periodic, very sporadic, and they're getting fewer and they're getting less in intensity. So I think that's really good. So 2 months post-surgery, I'm feeling pretty normal again, and that's really good. But for those who are interested in specifically what my problems were, I've gotten, through this new physical therapy, I've gotten the answer to the big question I've always had, because this started for me in my mid-20s, the back just breaking down and my lumbar spine being, chronically painful, and 2 disc herniations over the space of 10 years, the first one herniated on me in 2005, and then I had my second herniation in 2015. But I've had chronic pain ever since 2005 that was interrupting my daily life. And I've always wondered why. I didn't have a car accident. I didn't fall down. No one hit me. I've never been, tremendously overweight to the point that it would cause skeletal problems of that nature. I've never been somebody who had a medical illness that included medication that would have given me brittle bones, all of the things that they look for as a reason why. I've never been able to answer that question, but my physical therapists have answered that question for me this week. I found it fascinating, and once they mentioned it, was kind of like, in hindsight, it was so obvious. Why has no one in all these years been able to tell me? The cool thing about it was the first day that I walked into this physical therapist's office, they immediately leaned in and started whispering to each other. And so, I'm doing this on my hair. I'm like, what did I do? Looking down to make sure I didn't forget my pants or something. But no, they were watching my gait, the way that I walk across the room. And so the guy got out his camera and he said, we're going to have you walk down and back. And so there's some marks on the floor in the physical therapist's office. And they had me walk from one side of the room to the other and back several times. And then they filmed me from the front, the back, and the side so that I could see. And the best way to describe it is, this is my body, my head's up here, my legs are down here, my waist is in here, okay? When I walk slightly bent forward like this. Now, it's a little more pronounced now, and they could see it because I've been in such tremendous pain, especially with the surgery and everything that led up to it. But I remember as a little kid, the more we talked about this, they explained what was going on. So I have a walking posture and a standing posture that is slightly leaned forward. All my life, it's been slightly leaned forward to the point that it didn't look weird. I wasn't in pain. When I was a kid, we're talking, little bit there. I remember in early childhood being told by my mother and my stepmom and all of the adults who were in charge of me, Amy, stand up straight. Amy, stand up straight. And I have a very strong curve in my lumbar spine. Everyone does. Every human being has a curve in the lower lumbar spine. Mine is a little bit more radical or pronounced than average, I guess. And so basically what you get is you get a silhouette where my entire life, no matter what weight range I've been in, my bum sticks out in the back and my belly sticks out in the front, kind of like an S. And that's just the way my body has always been shaped. And I think at some point, everybody just stopped paying any attention to it. As long as I was healthy and as long as I was in a healthy weight, none of the adults around me really cared. And I certainly didn't. I was a kid. But what probably could have been diagnosed back then, if it was something that had ever entered anybody's mind, is that my hip flexors, which are the muscles that go kind of in a V they attach to your spine from the front. And they go down, basically crisscrossing around your groin, essentially, and they attach to your spine. And they are what allows the legs to move, and so they're kind of affected here, if that makes sense. And mine, from an entire lifetime, I probably learned to walk this way, of being slightly tilted forward. Mine are shorter, see, because if you stand up straight, it would stretch them out, right? So my hip flexors are too short. So essentially what that means is that all my life, because of my anatomy and because of the way I walk, my entire life I have been producing shearing. It's called a shearing force. Okay, so I went down to my daughter's room to get these Tinker Toy blocks because they're gonna, excuse my dog, these are gonna work a lot better than my stupid knuckles. Okay, so each one of these is a vertebra. And you have normal standing up straight pressure. This is the way the spine was designed to absorb compression, right? So like so. However, when you're like me and you're slightly tilted, the pressure still comes straight up and down on the, the y-axis kind of thing. And this is what you get, is the vertebrae being pushed in this kind of direction instead of straight up and down. So this is called shearing. Anyway, so because there was this shearing force on my spine, and probably has been for the majority of my life, that is one of the most detrimental kinds of things you can do to your spine. And so over the years, it has caused these problems. And that is what has built up to having, in the latter half of my 20s and all through my 30s, having my spine break down in the lower lumbar area. Those discs that receive the most pressure at the bottom of your lumbar spine, those are the ones, comes my dog, those are the ones that have really suffered the brunt of the force. And so what we're doing in physical therapy now is kind of painful, but it's very focused hip flexor work. and it doesn't feel good, but it feels so good afterwards. So I have high hopes for that, and I have high hopes for being able to take some before and after pictures. So I'm going to talk to my physical therapist next time I go in and have them take like a full-length photograph of me just standing, and then maybe have them take a new one each week, so that maybe when I come back at the 12-week mark, I can show you if there's been some progress in my ability to stand up, instead of like this, to stand up straight. Because that's really what we're going to have to focus on if I'm not going to be dealing with this constantly year after year for the rest of my life. I really need to correct the way that I stand and the way that I walk. But I'm just joyous right now because we finally figured out through the physical therapy what caused all of this to happen, or at least what probably caused all of this to happen. And even if it was not the primary cause, even if this is truly a genetic component that has led to degenerative disc disease, learning to stand up straight will certainly prolong my good years on that. So either way, I'm really kind of ecstatic having started physical therapy. I'm moving better again. I've finally got some exercises I can do for strength building that don't hurt my back. I mean, they hurt everything else, but they don't hurt my back. So anyway, we'll come back at the 12-week point and do an update, and I'll see if my physical therapist can help me with the picture taking, and I don't think they'll have a problem with that. So we'll see if we can do like a side-by-side progression, and you can see, hopefully, that I'm standing up straighter. But I'm glad. So yeah, microdiscectomy has been a huge, big thing. It's very much helped, and I'm recovering nicely. So don't be afraid of this procedure. If it's something that you need, you'll know that you need it. It'll be instinctive when the surgeon tells you it's time. Even if you're really scared to get surgery, get a second opinion if that's what you need to feel comfortable. But I think that this is going to be just the best thing I ever did. So, all right, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.